We are not what we seem. We are composed of many selves. You stand in a crowded room. The air hums with voices. Your eyes move without permission. And then they stop. A face, a shape, a presence that pulls you like gravity. You tell yourself it's attraction. But something older, darker is moving you. It's not choice, it's not reason, it's the unseen hand. Freud would call it the libido, the primal engine of your being. Jung would call it the shadow, the hidden self you refuse to see. Two men, two visions of the same hunger. One sees it as a biological fire, the other as a mirror to your soul. You think you're chasing her, but what if you're chasing a ghost? A fragment of your own psyche wearing her face. The pursuit of women has been sung in poetry, carved into stone, whispered in the dark for centuries. Kings have waged wars for it. Artists have destroyed themselves for it. Men have built empires and burned them to ash. Why? Freud would lean in and tell you, because the sexual drive is the root of all human striving. Every ambition, every creation, every act of love or cruelty, a disguised form of the same force. The libido, raw, unrelenting, shaped by repression into the strange architecture of your desires. Jung would shake his head. He'd tell you that what you call attraction is often projection, that the woman you see is not the woman she is, but the anima, the feminine image your unconscious has been carrying since birth. You're not just drawn to her, you're drawn to the missing half of yourself. Two truths, two traps. One says you are an animal, driven by instinct. The other says you are a soul, haunted by archetypes. Which is more dangerous, to believe you are nothing but flesh, or to believe you are chasing the divine? The room fades. You're left with the question, when you pursue her, who is really in control? Freud would warn you about repression, that the more you deny your desires, the more they twist into compulsions. Jung would warn you about ignorance, that the more you ignore your shadow, the more it will choose for you. Both agree on one thing. You are not as free as you think. The seduction is not just in her smile. It's in the way your unconscious has been scripting this moment for years. Every glance, every word, every heartbeat, rehearsed in the dark theater of your mind. And here's the unsettling part. You might not be pursuing her at all. You might be pursuing the parts of yourself you've lost or never dared to meet. This is where legend's legacy steps into the fire. Not to give you easy answers, but to drag you into the questions that burn. So tell me, whose vision pulls you deeper? Freud's furnace of instinct or Jung's mirror of the soul? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see which shadow you're willing to face. And if you want to keep walking into the places most people fear to go, you know what to do. Because this is only the beginning. The first human who hurled an insult instead of a stone was the founder of civilization, Sigmund Freud. You feel it before you think it, a tightening in the chest, a pull in the gut. The mind scrambles for words, but the body has already decided. Freud would tell you this is not romance, it's not even love. It's the libido, the raw biological current that runs through every human life. Not polite, not poetic. Animal. He believed that beneath every ambition, every work of art, every act of kindness, there is a hidden engine, sexual energy. The same force that drives reproduction also drives creation, destruction, and obsession. You can dress it in silk. You can bury it under philosophy, but it will leak through the cracks. Freud saw repression as the great architect of human behavior. Society demands restraint. Religion demands purity. Morality demands control. So you push the urges down, you lock them in the basement of your mind. And in the dark, they grow teeth. The more you repress, the stranger they return. Desire becomes fixation. Attraction becomes compulsion. The woman across the room is no longer just a woman. She is the vessel for every forbidden impulse you've ever buried. Freud called this the return of the repressed. The unconscious doesn't forget. It waits. It reshapes itself into dreams, slips of the tongue, sudden obsessions. You think you're choosing her, but the choice was made long before you walked into the room. In Freud's furnace, the pursuit of women is not a conscious strategy. It's a symptom, a flare of the deeper fire. He would point to history and say, look at the poets who wrote of love until they went mad. Look at the kings who risked kingdoms for a mistress. Look at the revolutions sparked by affairs. Not accidents, not coincidences. The libido redirected, disguised, but never extinguished. Freud's genius and his danger was in stripping away the illusions. He didn't care for the romantic veil. He wanted to see the machinery, and the machinery was relentless. He would tell you that even your highest ideals are built on this foundation, that the cathedral and the brothel are cousins, that the same energy that builds civilizations also burns them to the ground. It's a brutal vision, one that leaves little room for innocence. But Freud wasn't mocking humanity. He was warning it. Because if you don't understand the furnace, you can't control it. And if you can't control it, it will control you. He would ask you, when you speak to her, whose voice is speaking? When you reach for her hand, whose hand is reaching? Is it yours, or is it the ancient, unbroken chain of instinct that began long before you were born? Freud believed that civilization itself is a fragile dam holding back this flood. That every law, every custom, every moral code is an attempt to channel the libido into something productive. But the dam leaks, always, and when it breaks, history changes. You can see why Jung resisted this view. To Jung, Freud's furnace was too narrow, too cynical, but to Freud, Jung's mirror was too mystical, too forgiving. Still in this moment, standing in the heat of the furnace, you can feel the truth in Freud's words, the pulse, the hunger, the way desire can override reason in a heartbeat. The question is not whether the furnace exists. The question is whether you can stand in its heat without being consumed. This is where the path forks. One road leads deeper into Freud's world, the study of instinct, repression, and the strange shapes desire takes when it's denied. The other road leads to Jung's realm, where the woman is not just a body, but a symbol, a reflection of your own hidden self. Which road would you take? Tell me in the comments, does Freud's vision feel like truth to you, or does it feel like a cage? And if you want to see what waits in Jung's mirror, stay with me, because the next step will not be warm like the furnace. It will be cold, reflective, and far more dangerous. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes, Carl Jung. The fire fades, the air cools. You are no longer in the furnace. You are standing before a mirror, not the kind that shows your face, the kind that shows what you've hidden. She's there, the woman you can't stop thinking about. But her eyes are not hers, they are yours. Jung would tell you this is the anima, the inner feminine that lives in every man's unconscious, not a fantasy, not a preference, an archetype. From the moment you were born, your psyche began shaping her from your mother's voice, from the stories you heard, from the women you admired, feared, or desired. Piece by piece, the image formed. And now, when you meet someone who matches that image, or even just a fragment of it, the pull is magnetic. Not because of who she is, but because of what she represents. You think you're falling for her, but you're falling into yourself. Jung's warning is sharp. When you project the anima onto a real woman, you stop seeing her as she is. You see only the reflection of your own unconscious. You don't love her. You love the missing part of you she seems to carry. This is why the pursuit can feel so intoxicating. It's not just attraction, it's reunion. A reunion with a part of your soul you didn't know was gone. But there's a danger, because the anima is not always gentle. She can be muse or siren, guide or destroyer. Jung saw countless men undone by their projections. They chased women who embodied their anima, only to find the reality could never match the image. The disappointment was crushing, the obsession unbreakable. And here's the cruel twist. The more you deny your own shadow, the darker, hidden parts of your personality, the more power the anima has over you. She becomes the gatekeeper to your unconscious, and she will lead you exactly where you need to go, even if it's into the abyss. Jung's mirror is not warm, it's cold. It forces you to see that the woman you desire may be nothing more than a symbol in your own inner drama. He would ask you, when you look at her, what are you really seeing? Her, or the reflection of your own longing? Her, or the part of yourself you've never dared to claim? In this view, seduction is not about conquest. It's about integration. The real task is not to possess her, but to reclaim the part of you she represents. And that's the part most men run from. Because it's easier to chase her than to face yourself. Easier to believe she holds the key than to admit the key has been in your hand all along. Jung's path is harder than Freud's. Freud asks you to understand your instincts. Jung asks you to dismantle your illusions, and illusions are harder to kill than desire. In the mirror, you see her smile, but behind it, you see the shadow, the parts of you you've buried, your fears, your shame, your hunger for meaning. If you can face that shadow, Jung says, you can free yourself from the compulsive chase. You can see her as she is, not as your unconscious demands her to be. But if you can't, you will keep running in circles. Different faces, same story. This is the cold truth of Jung's mirror. The woman is not the answer. She is the question, and the question is you. So tell me, does this vision unsettle you more than Freud's furnace? Do you see yourself in the mirror, or do you look away? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want to keep walking deeper into this clash of minds, subscribe, because the next step is where the two visions collide. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Albert Einstein. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. The year is 1913. Two men sit across from each other in a quiet room. The air is heavy, not with smoke, with the weight of ideas that can no longer live together. Freud, the elder, the founder, the man who carved a path through the jungle of the mind with nothing but a scalpel of reason. Jung, the prodigy, the chosen heir, the one Freud once called his crown prince. They had walked side by side for years, through lectures, through letters, through nights of endless debate. But now the road has split. Freud's eyes burn with the certainty of instinct. The libido is the root. Everything else, dreams, myths, art, religion, is a disguise for the same primal force. To him, Jung's talk of archetypes and the collective unconscious is dangerous, too mystical, too ungrounded. A betrayal of science. Jung's gaze is colder. He respects Freud's brilliance, but sees his vision as too narrow. Man is not just an animal. He is a soul. And the unconscious is not just a pit of repressed urges. It is a cathedral of symbols, a living archive of human experience. The tension between them is not just intellectual, it is personal. Freud had once fainted in Jung's presence during a heated discussion, as if his body itself refused to face the possibility that his theory was not the whole truth. Jung saw it as a sign. The unconscious was speaking, even through Freud. They are no longer just debating psychology, they are debating the nature of man. Freud leans forward. He warns Jung that abandoning the primacy of sexuality will destroy the coherence of psychoanalysis. Without the furnace, the whole structure collapses. Jung does not flinch. He tells Freud that clinging to sexuality as the sole driver blinds us to the deeper forces shaping the human spirit. Without the mirror, we will never see the whole self. Two visions, two empires of thought, and only one can be the foundation of the future. The break is inevitable. Letters grow colder, conversations end in silence. By the end of 1913, their alliance is over. The world of psychology will never be the same. Freud retreats deeper into his fortress of instinct and repression. Jung ventures into the wilderness of myth, alchemy, and the collective unconscious. But here's the truth they never admitted. They needed each other. Freud's furnace gave Jung's mirror heat. Jung's mirror gave Freud's furnace depth. Together they could have forged a vision of the human mind that was both primal and transcendent. Instead, they left us with a choice. Do you believe that your pursuit of women is the echo of an ancient biological fire, a force that must be understood, managed, and channeled? Or do you believe it is the projection of your own hidden self, a call to integrate the parts of you you've exiled? The collision of Freud and Jung is not just history. It is happening inside you every time desire strikes, every time you feel the pull and wonder whether it's instinct or destiny. And maybe that's why their story still grips us, because it's not just about them. It's about the war between the animal and the soul, the furnace and the mirror. So tell me, if you had been in that room in 1913, whose side would you have taken? Would you have stood with Freud, defending the raw truth of instinct? Or with Jung, protecting the mystery of the soul? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to see how this war ends, not in history, but in you, stay with me. The room is silent. No fire, no reflection, only you. You can still feel the echo of their voices. Freud's heavy, relentless, warning you that desire is not a choice but a current. Jung's calm, piercing, telling you that the woman is not the prize but the key to your own shadow. Two visions, two maps of the same territory. And you are standing at the crossroads. The pursuit of women, is it instinct or is it projection? Is it the body's ancient hunger or the soul's unfinished story? Freud would say, you are an animal first. Accept it or be ruled by it. Jung would say, you are a soul first. Deny it and you will never be whole. You think about the moments in your life when desire took the wheel. The times you told yourself you were in control, only to realize later that something older, deeper, had been steering you all along. You think about the faces that haunted you, the ones you couldn't forget, the ones that felt like destiny. Were they destiny or were they mirrors? The truth is, both men are right and both men are wrong. Because you are not just instinct and you are not just symbol, you are the battlefield where they meet. Every time you feel the pull towards someone, the furnace and the mirror ignite at once. The body surges forward, the psyche projects its image, and you are caught between heat and reflection. The danger is not in choosing one over the other. The danger is in pretending one doesn't exist. Ignore the furnace and you will be blindsided by the raw force of instinct. Ignore the mirror and you will be enslaved by illusions you mistake for truth. The choice in the dark is not about sides. It's about awareness. It's about walking into the fire with your eyes open and standing before the mirror without looking away. You remember Jung's words, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And Freud's warning, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. 2 sentences. 2 weapons, both aimed at the same enemy, your blindness to yourself. So here you are. The next time you feel that pull towards someone, you will hear them both. Freud whispering about the ancient current, Jung whispering about the hidden self. And maybe, for the first time, you will not be swept away by either. You will stand in the middle. And you will see. That is the real seduction, not of her, of you, by your own unconscious. The question is, will you break the spell? This is Legend's legacy, where history's greatest minds don't just speak to you, they challenge you. If this journey through the furnace and the mirror has left you with more questions than answers, good. That means you're awake. Tell me in the comments, whose voice will you carry forward? Freud's, warning you of the fire, or Jung's, guiding you through the shadows? And if you want to keep walking into the places most people fear to go, subscribe. Because the next story will not just change how you think, it will change how you see yourself. Final words in the debate that never ends. Freud, we are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Jung, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. 2 truths, 2 paths. The choice is yours.